time for my fourth book review of 2021. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like this video. If you want to see as soon as I upload, click that little bell down below. We are a booktube channel. We also do writing tips, unboxings, and the occasional bonus vlog. Today is the review of my fourth book of 2021. Now this was a book club book, and the book that we read was Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste NG. Now there were different opinions, myself and my partner being the main odd ones when reading this book, and we differed quite a lot from the rest of the book club, but that's not saying I didn't like it, and Celeste NG is definitely a very good writer. But before we review this book, I'll read you guys the blurb. Everyone in Shaker Heights was talking about it that summer, how Isabella, the last of the Richardson children, had finally gone around the bend and burned the house down. In Shaker Heights, a placid, progressive suburb of Cleveland, everything is meticulously planned, from the layout of the winding roads to the colours of the houses to the successful lives its residents will go on to lead, and no one embodies this spirit more than Eleanor Richardson, whose guiding principle is playing by the rules. Enter Mia Warren, an enigmatic artist and single mother who arrives in this idyllic bubble with her teenage daughter Pearl, and a disregard for the status quo that threatens to upend this carefully ordered community. Suspicious of Mia and her motives, Eleanor is determined to uncover the secrets in Maya's past, but her observation will come at unexpected and devastating costs. So this one really reminded me of the TV series Desperate Housewives. Like, Shaker Heights is just the stereotypical movie kind of suburban American town that you watch all these chick flicks and comedy shows on. And it is written very, very well. Something that shocked me and perhaps made it mean more as I read it was, if you read her bio, which I'll read to you guys now, Celeste NG grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania and Shaker Heights, Ohio. She attended Harvard University and earned an MFA from the University of Michigan. Her debut novel, Everything I Never Told You, won the Hopwood Award, the Massachusetts Book Award, the Asian Pacific American Award for Literature, and the American Library Association's Alex Award. She is a 2016 National Endowment for the Arts Fellow, and she lives in Cambridge, Massachusetts. So the author is from Shaker Heights, or at least lived there at some point in her life. So a lot of this book, I believe, is from her experience, maybe obviously a bit heightened to make it more dramatic, but if you read it knowing that the author lived there at one point in her life, then it makes the book make a lot more sense and makes it a lot more powerful than it perhaps is if you don't know that. As always with my book reviews, the first half will be spoiler-free reviews. I will give you a spoiler alert warning, and then the second half may include some spoilers. Overall, I liked it. It was a good read. It had cliffhangers in it, but I did guess a lot of what was going to happen because the book starts structurally with the end of the book. So it begins by telling you the end and then goes back a few years or whatever to the start of the story, which does work quite well because it means you immediately have a question about, why did that happen in the book? But it does, for me, also mean I know where it's going, so I can put two and two together pretty much all the way through. Her writing style is really good. She's such an accomplished writer. The book club I'm in did argue with me about this because, yes, the book is mainly about the scenes and the plot, but for me personally, the characters didn't have character arcs. Now, I just felt that they remained the same throughout, but you read it, see how you feel, it's just my opinion. After finishing the book, obviously it does have really good foreshadowing throughout, and the imagery and the descriptions are really, really good. So I did like it, and I wouldn't tell someone not to read it. It just perhaps wasn't in my preferred genre. For me, it was a little bit bitchy, very drama, but if you're into drama and things like that, then this will probably be right up your street. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. We're now going to go on to the second part of my review, and there may be a few spoilers from the book. So if you haven't read the book, skip to this time here, and you will see my overall and the stars I give it out of 10. If you have read the book, or if you haven't and you just do want to see the spoilers and things like that, then keep watching. There's a quote on page 42 which I really, really like. Now, it was to describe someone who has confidence, but she used the dialogue that that person used in order to describe it, which I really, really appreciated. When the characters are ordering at a restaurant, the characters, instead of saying, "Could I have?" she says, "I'll have." And that has a really big impact on Pearl, the daughter of Mia, in the book. And I just thought it was a really, really good way to show someone's confidence and to show that the dialogue that you use really does have an impact on what people think of you and kind of authority that you bring across as well. My favourite character has to be Mia, partly because I just like that she's an artist and her chosen lifestyle is really sweet, and you know, she just works for what she needs. She never wants too much. She's really kind of eco-friendly in a way because she always just gets secondhand things. She doesn't buy new things. She just has what she needs to survive and loves her art and lives for it. She does also try to apologize to the Ryans, the family which she kind of betrays in this book, by leaving them pretty much all of her life savings to say sorry for bailing on them with giving them the baby that she's got inside of her. And it's really sweet, even though I think Mia obviously is quite different and there's still no character arc. For me, she doesn't change. At most, she's just apologetic that she couldn't give Pearl what she promised, that they would stay in Shaker Heights so Pearl could have a normal high school experience. But as a person, with all the bitchiness going on with all the other characters, Mia was like a breath of fresh air because all of the Richardson children, even Pearl, are bitchy or two-faced or just really all about themselves. And although I find Mia is selfish in that, you know, she goes from town to town to town and never gave her daughter a choice, at least she was trying to change and give her daughter a choice. She just didn't have a choice in the end, and they had to leave because of the Richardsons' hatred of her, which really was just so bitchy. And instead of Mrs. Richardson finding out the truth, she just blamed Mia instantly and was like, "Get out." Instant. It's like horrible, but then it does show the kind of class system and how people make an opinion of you before they've even spoken to you. I also really enjoyed how this book tackles racism and the problems people of different cultures have. So if you're Asian American, where were the dolls? Or where are the dolls that are Asian? You know, no one looks like you. You're alone in this country where you are American, but you're also Asian. But then if you go to Asia, you're quite often not classed as Asian because you have the American personalities, because you've grown up there. So there's this problem of not feeling like you belong somewhere just because of what you look like, which is completely unfair and ridiculous, and it's something that the world really needs to change. I loved how this book did address that, and how in the courtroom that was one of the things that the real baby's mother's lawyer brought in, was that, you know, do you know Chinese culture? Do you know how to speak Chinese? Are you going to actually give this child the culture she's from, or just is she going to be an American child but one who doesn't quite fit in simply because of how she looks? But at the same time, I love how this argument of the baby also goes to the other side of, you know, the baby's mother is poor. Can she provide the baby with everything that she needs? Whereas this family that want to adopt her, they don't see her race. They just want a baby and they love her and they want to give her everything. And yeah, that baby would have a really good life money-wise and have everything that they need. They could go to the best universities, but they would lose the culture that the mother knows, which could make them feel alienated. So it's a really interesting argument. And I do love how the book goes into that area, how it just dives straight in there. It's really, really interesting and good to learn about. I still have a problem that there doesn't seem to be a character arc. I do agree with the book club that yes, this book is far more about the plot and about the circumstances within it, about the racism, the sexism, about the closed off opinions of places like Shaker Heights, where you have to be a specific way to live there, and if you're not, they'll find a way to get rid of you. This is a complete generalization. There are obviously going to be suburbs which are not like this, and I hope that that is becoming more and more normal, that people do not judge you based on your choices, based on what you look like and things like that. I do have a question which also makes me like Mia more. She has those photos which are worth thousands of dollars, and she doesn't sell them. She only sold one to get her and Pearl started and has always kept them from that point on. And I think it's really beautiful that she has an opportunity to be quite wealthy if she wants to be, but she chooses not to because she's happy with her life as it is. And that's a nice way to think and be, and a good example to put forward, because in a capitalist world, we are pushed into this idea that we always need more and more money, and actually sometimes you might be happier having less but doing what you love. And it's hard for people to accept it if you go that route. You know, if you decide you're not going to go for the career, you want to stick with, say, your art or your music, and you may be poorer, you might on the off chance get a lot of money from it, but you're more likely not to. But as long as you're making enough to survive, why should they care? And I really like how this book goes into that. I think it's a really beautiful thought, and it makes you think. Everything in this book makes you think about life and about your own opinions, of your own generalizations, and about how you come across. You know, are you one of those people that, like Mrs. Richardson, you think you're doing good, but actually you're not really helping? You know, Mrs. Richardson's way of helping is just throw money at it. Just, you know, she thinks she's helping the poor by letting them rent her second house, but ultimately, is that helping? Because she is getting money from those people. Yes, she puts it up for cheaper rent, but ultimately, if she wanted to be really helpful, she could just let them have it. But again, capitalism, would you do that? Would that mean the person would feel indebted to you and then you wouldn't be able to have a normal relationship? But then do you have a normal relationship as a renter and the person letting it out? So many questions, which I did really enjoy. It leaves you thinking. If I'm correct, and from the author's bio, she is from this background and she is part of a minority in America as well. So this probably has a lot that is very meaningful to her, and she writes it very, very well. She's such a good writer. So I do not dislike this book. I want to make that so clear. I did enjoy it. It's so well written. It's so interesting. I just didn't like the characters because of the bitchiness, but I think that is also the point. They're not supposed to be likable. They're supposed to be brutally and horribly real, which I read a lot of fantasy. I think I don't like real life, and I think I obviously don't look for real life in the books I read. I read to escape, it seems. Maybe not one I would normally read, and that's why I wasn't really into it, because I just didn't like them. But it is very, very good, and if you do like drama, read it. Alright, so overall, I would give this book 8 out of 10 stars. From a personal enjoyment, it would be perhaps slightly less, just because I didn't like the drama, I didn't like the characters, but I have to give it more stars because it is so well written and because of the issues that it brings to light and how much it makes you think. So 8 out of 10 stars for me. I would recommend that you read it. It is a very interesting book. It does make you think. It is written very well. So look her up. It was Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste NG. And thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review of the 4th book of 2021 that I have read. If you like what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. If you'd like to see as soon as I upload, click that little bell down below. You can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram or Tumblr. I post general bookish pictures as well as my writing tips and unboxings on there. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye!